Hey, folks, welcome back to another episode of Artist Stories of Middle Georgia. I'm your host, Victor Rigoli, and I have a great guest on the podcast today, Kelly Sullivan Joyner. Welcome to the podcast, Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm going to share with everybody your bio. Kelly is a 63-year-old, I love what you said here, artist wannabe, who has been drawing and painting for as long as she can remember. She majored in fine art in college and was a police composite artist in another lifetime 30 some odd years ago. Today, she paints and creates because she loves it. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. So where does your artist story begin? You and I chatted a little bit before the interview, but share with us how all that got started.
It begins as a small child. My favorite stuff to draw back then was Horton Hears a Who. I would copy as much as I could from Dr. Seuss books.
Okay, that's good.
But
yeah. Those were probably pretty easy to kind of copy and get started, some of those
They
things.
were. And then at one point I wanted to be a writer when I was young, and I'm talking like elementary school. And so I would write short stories and illustrate my own short stories. But most of it came from watching my mom when it came to being a serious artist. My mother was a pretty prolific artist in the 70s in Tennessee. And we have a lot of her paintings. In fact, my oldest daughter has some of them hanging at a Village Coffee Shop over at Ingleside.
Oh, wow.
And all the family, when my mother passed away, we kind of divided up what she had left that she had not given away over the years. She would paint for Christmas presents, but her art, my mom was really good and she should have done a lot more with it. And so watching her, especially in the 70s, she'd wear her cool little flared jeans and she'd pack her little wooden case and she'd go off with her easel and she would paint. And I just thought that was so boho and so cool. And I wanted to do that as well.
That is a neat story, especially for that time period, because I grew up in the 70s and high school and that kind of thing. And, you're coming out of the late 60s and the hippie movement, with Woodstock and everything. And I remember the bell-bottom flared legs and stuff like that. So somebody, your mom, still having that conservative mom almost coming out of the Leave It to Beaver, Donna Reed show kind of mentality of the moms and home. And to see your mom put on those jeans and get her plein air kit and everything and go out and paint. I love that story. I mean, that is so cool. Kind of a rebel in a way, break the mold, traditional.
She was, she came from a very conservative household, but she married a very liberal Democrat back then. And so she just expanded and the older she got, the more liberal she became. But I just remember those days of her going out and we were living like I told you in Johnson City, Tennessee and Newport, Tennessee. And we would go up into the mountains and she would paint. And I just thought that was the neatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I wanted to live an artist lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful country up there. As you and I chatted, I was born in Bristol, Tennessee and Tri-Cities area up there. So yeah, small world, small world.
It is.
Yeah. That's neat. We have a lot of common background, that kind of thing, and age and what have you. So did you take art in high school?
I did take art in high school.
Okay.
Linda Simpson was my art teacher at Northside High School in Warner Robins. Okay. And I participated in the art symposium back then with University of Georgia. I actually had a drawing that we had done in class as a perspective and that hung at the University of Georgia and then hung in the Capitol. And that was in high school. And so I thought I was on my way. And I went to college and majored in art at Macon Junior College.
I remember those days. Yeah. I remember Macon Junior. Yeah. I started there.
Linda Hutto was my instructor.
Oh, okay.
And then I got married and had a child, and art kind of went along the wayside for a while.
Kind of went on the back burner for a little bit.
It went on the back burner while I was a mom and did some some other things. I would pick it up here and there and do some things. In fact, my daughter has some drawings I did in 1988. Uh, so it was kind of off and on. I would get the bug and I would draw for a while and then I would stop.
Right.
But because I was busy raising two daughters then
Oh, wow. Yeah.
by the
Yeah.
by the mid '80s.
Yeah. Uh, Not much spare time, I would say,
No, no.
raising, having a family, raising children, that kind of thing. And I kind of fit in that category to a certain degree with, you know, my, my life and how it's evolved over the years, and getting back into art for the last 6.5 years has been very rewarding. And I'm glad. I just wish I'd stuck with it back in high school and college,
Oh yeah, I do too.
but
I wish I had really. I worked as a graphic artist, but that is not the same. But
right.
it was way back before there was desktop publishing or
Yeah.
Canva or anything like that. It
Right.
was back
Right.
back when you actually had to
You had
draw
to
it.
do the work. Right. Yeah.
And I
Not
worked
point
in
and
the dark
click
room.
and yeah.
Right.
Oh,
I worked in
oh,
the dark room. So I
okay.
did the photography of the layouts that
Oh,
other
wow.
artists had done. So
Yeah. That is so cool. That is so cool. So what's your medium of choice?
these days it's usually watercolor or acrylic on canvas.
Okay.
I'm not much into oils. I want to expand and get into oils, but I'm one of these. I need instant gratification, and
Yeah.
acrylic dries faster, and I can work
Yes.
quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like to
Yeah.
spend weeks at a time on a painting. I want to spend a few days on a painting and get it done.
Right. Right. So, what inspires you? I mean, if you go into your studio or your area that you paint and you're looking at a blank canvas, what's the first step in your process? How do you go about starting to create a piece of art?
These days, it's just putting the paint on the canvas. I used to work with very. I used to do a lot of portraiture because I was a police officer and I was a composite artist, sketch artist for the police department. So when I left the police department, I moved into more portraits, and that required a whole different mindset. But I found that I had lost the ability to give life to portraits sometimes.
Hmm.
So, because it was so technical at the police department, you know,
Right. Right.
you don't want to give it too much animation. So, a lot of my portraits, I wasn't happy with them. But I had never done landscapes, and I had absolutely never done large canvases. I had always worked on the small
Small
format.
scale.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I had started doing watercolor, black and white watercolor portraits, and I really liked that. That was better than sketching.
Hmm.
Um, but then a few years ago, I decided, you know what, I want to work on some big landscapes, and so I just went and bought the canvases and started putting paint on it. And the where I used to spend all this time sketching everything out and making sure everything was, I just started painting, and I found that it's so much freer and it comes out a little looser.
Right.
But I
Right.
like I like the way it comes out. I like the feeling that it gets,
Yeah.
and and I use a lot more color than I ever used to use. I used to was very
Hmm. Hmm.
monochromatic in what I did,
Hmm. Hmm.
and now
Hmm.
I've embraced color.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You're more expressionism maybe, to just kind of and loose. I love that, being loose and just letting it see where it goes and where the paint takes you, as
Yes,
you
yeah,
create,
it's
which
all.
is good. Yeah.
I like a softer. Now I do use a lot of my landscapes, a paint that's based in grays, and you have a gray green and a gray orange because I like that soft
Hmm.
colorization. But then I've got some of the mountains, the Smoky Mountains in the fall that are really bright, intense colors, which is different for me.
Right. 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 Yeah, I love how you've kind of and artists do this too. We kind of a lot of artists do. I won't say every artist does it, but kind of evolve a little bit and everything. Sometimes we might start off being more tight and more structured, and then we get to a point of being more loose and expressive with the brush strokes and that kind of thing. And I've been trying to do that a little bit more, and I've been doing some things with palette knife painting, and I did a couple of paintings on a what I'll consider a larger scale, 30 by 40 and 36 by 48, just palette knife, nothing but palette knife.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that was very challenging, but I like the thickness of the paint, and it kind of
Yes.
reminds me of a little bit of how Van Gogh painted and how thick his paint was, that kind of thing. So, do you use any palette knives in your, acrylic paintings, or is it mostly just brushwork? Or
I have a couple that I've been
hmm
working on with palette. Mainly it's brushwork,
hmm
and I've started using these big round brushes um, that are a little coarser and
right?
not so soft and not so fine. Of course, I go in with little brushes at, at the end for detail, but I just like those big strokes. And I'm more into the blending. Um, I like things to look almost marbleized. So,
hmm
and
hmm
that's just
hmm
me. That's, I've
Yeah,
tried it with the palette knife, and I even used the modeling paste with my paint to make it thicker and that kind of stuff.
right.
And I always end up going back and blending
Yeah,
it. My
yeah.
eye just doesn't accept it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. It's been a challenge for me sometimes. I said, okay, I need to be a little bit more loose, but then I find myself coming back to, okay, you get too detailed there. You get too much of too many blades of grass. Just give the impression of grass or trees, or not that I paint individual leaves, but you get to a point of, yeah, get the shapes down, get the colors down, get the lights and darks, the shadows, all that kind of stuff. The eye will tell you what it is. It's a tree.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
Do you ever hit a wall sometimes in being creative and says, "Oh gosh, where do I go now?" Hitting a dry spell, so to speak. Uh, and if so, how do you get through that? How do you push through that to get that creative juice going again?
I actually do, and I'm kind of in one right now. I've got a painting that I started that's about halfway finished that I've just got to get in there and finish. And what I do is I will swerve a little bit, and I'll go find something else for a while that feeds that creativity, but doesn't require as much thought and effort. Right this minute, I've been doing I don't know, oyster shells, painting inside of them or decoupaging them and that kind of thing, just so that I keep that creative juices flowing. But I'll go back to painting here very shortly. It's
Okay.
only been, a couple of weeks. My husband had surgery on the first of the month, and so I've been helping him. And I thought, oh, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to paint, paint, paint. And then I found out that my brain needed a rest.
Right.
So
Right.
I found these shell things that I've been doing.
Well, a lot of artists, I'm not saying that you are, but a lot of artists have ADD or ADHD. We have different things going on. And I think it's a good thing to a certain degree, because you're right. We do get kind of in a funk or a stuck or whatever. And that happens to me. And I may say, well, let me go out in the garage and cut panels and work on cutting panels to paint on. And okay, I'm going to put
Hmm.
gesso on them and all this kind of stuff. And or maybe I'll go stretch some canvas and just get out of the studio for a little while, or just go walk around in the neighborhood and just take in the beauty of the earth, and just hearing birds and the sunshine and all that kind of stuff. And we need that kind of diversion. One of the things I like to do is here in Middle Georgia. I mean, you're about 3 hours away, but I love going to the coast of Georgia,
Oh,
and
yes.
it recharges my battery because I do a lot
Yes.
of coastal themed paintings, and so it's good for me to, because as you know, living in Middle Georgia, we don't have a rivers and beach and mountains close by and streams and real nice parks and everything. So you do have to kind of be creative, and sometimes you have to drive to those places and spend a little time, so yeah, uh, that's neat. Yeah, so
Oh yeah,
Do
I'm
you?
the beach is definitely the place to go
Yeah.
to get back to nature and to rejuvenate the soul. Um, and in fact, we do that in the fall. We take the grandchild and we head over
Okay.
to somewhere on the
Okay.
coast.
Yeah. Um, how do you do any shows or anything like that? Do you have your work in any galleries or got any upcoming shows or anything like that that we might could put a plug in for you?
Right now, I do not.
Okay.
I'm working on that. I do volunteer with the 567 here in Macon,
Okay. Good.
and
Good.
I do work with Visit Macon. I do some of the macabre tours in the
Okay.
evenings.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But like you said, I have to have my husband's always going, "Can you just sit still for a few minutes?"
No, you can't.
No,
Yeah,
I've got to have
I can
things
relate
to
to that. Yeah,
do.
yeah. My ADD or ADHD kicks in a lot because we'll sit in the bed watching Netflix or whatever, and I got a book in my lap and I'm reading. So I'm doing two or three things at one time. My brain is just bouncing
Oh,
around. So
when I'm
yeah.
painting, I have a small TV in the studio. I'm either listening to music, and it's usually jazz, or I've got something on the TV that's a crime podcast or something like that that I'm watching while I'm painting. And my husband's like, "How can you do two things
I
or
have to.
three things at
Yeah.
the same
You
time?"
have to. Yeah. I don't
Hmm.
like the quietness. Some people do. I mean, some people like it real
I don't
quiet
either.
and they just kind of,
Mhm.
get into the zone. But as you joined before we started the podcast, I had my TV on and I was watching an artist doing a plein air demo,
Yeah.
which um, I first one of the first things I do when I come upstairs to the studio is turn on the TV and check out some of the YouTube people and see what's up and kind of go from there. But yeah, I like jazz music too, and so I'm starting to play a little bit more music as I'm painting. So, um, do you go out and do any plein air painting?
You know, I have in the past, but I don't really, especially right now. It is too daggum hot for me to be
It
anywhere
is hot.
outside.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
I hope to
Too
be able
hot.
to get out more in the fall,
Okay.
but
Um,
I haven't a whole lot. I have the setup. I'm one to buy all the stuff, and then I thought there for a while I might do some live wedding paintings, and then I realized that I really don't like having people around me that much while I'm painting. So I'll do studio paintings of, but I decided I didn't want to do that.
right. Right. I have the plein air kit. I got the backpack, got everything loaded in it, and we were down in Jekyll Island a couple weeks ago, and I got out early one morning. My wife had to work. I'm retired, but she still works, and so I said I'm going to go out and paint. And by 10:30, I had to take my second shower. I mean, it was so hot and humid, but you got to get out. And I've been down there once back in March, I think it was. There's a plein air group that goes out every Tuesday morning on St. Simon's, group of artists.
Oh wow.
And they get out at 8 o'clock. We start at 8 o'clock and they'll paint for a couple hours because yes, in the summertime especially it heats up. Um, but I'm trying to force myself to get out and do more. In fact, I put on my calendar to try to do it on Thursday mornings. And so this Thursday I've got something picked out that it's just a tree that I'm going to go and paint. And it's one of my wife's favorite trees in the area. And I said, I think I'm going to go out and try to paint that Thursday morning. But yeah, it's getting out and doing it's a challenge for those
Oh
that
yes.
don't do plein air, that are thinking about doing plein air, encourage people to do it. But it's a challenge because when I'm in my studio, and you probably find this too, everything's at my fingertips. I mean, it's within an arm's length away or a few steps over to pick it up and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. And then 99% of the time when I go out plein air painting, I forget something. It's like, I forgot the little wipes. I forgot the trash bag. I forgot a palette knife. I forgot, whatever. So it's like, I
Yeah.
guess I got to come up with a list of here's all the thing checklist. Check, 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 check. Okay. I got it all. Let's go. But
You just have
yeah,
2 sets. You have one that you keep packed all the time to go,
yeah,
and then your stuff at your studio that So you have to have two of everything.
Yeah, that's true. I need to do that because what I'll do is I'll pull brushes out of all the little brushes over here and get the ones that I want. I got little containers for them and put them in my backpack. And I thought, yeah, it would be nice if I just left them in there all the time because I've got plenty of them, as my wife
Yes.
will attest to. You don't need more brushes. So,
But you
yeah.
always need brushes. I mean, you find a
Well,
new
they
one
wear
and you
out.
got
They wear out.
yes.
You
Yeah.
use up paint, got to have more paint, got to have more brushes, that kind of thing. Um, is there a particular, speaking of brushes, is there a particular brush that you like in your work? You like working with larger size brushes? Now you're doing some larger paintings. Of course, you can't do it with a fine detail brush, but yeah. So there's certain brushes that you like to use, favor
There's not
over.
necessarily there's not necessarily a brand. I like right now these big fat round brushes that are kind of coarse. I have a few that are fine that once I get the color and I'm blending, I'll kind of go over it with a dry brush with these really super
Okay.
soft fine brushes to smooth things out. But
Okay.
the bigger, the fatter the brush, the happier I am right this minute.
Yeah.
It keeps me from getting lost in the sauce and getting so caught up in the detail that I overpaint. And that's something
Uh-huh.
I've had to learn is to stop overpainting. You're at a point, it looks good, leave it alone. Stop.
Call it done, right? Yeah.
Call it
I
done.
think that's
And so what else?
yeah.
Yeah. And I try to glaze it as soon as it's dry. I'll glaze it. So that keeps me. Once I glaze it, I won't paint again. It's done.
That's
So
that's probably good advice, especially with acrylic because it dries so fast, and you can put a glaze on it or a seal on it or what varnish on it or whatever, and then
yeah,
say, hey,
yeah.
it's done. I'm not going back and do anything to it. I can't. So yeah,
I
you
can't.
kind of you kind of
Even
burn the
though I
bridge,
can,
or
I tell myself I can't.
yeah. You kind of burn the bridge. I can't go back. So
Yes.
it's done. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Um, Sounds like you've kind of evolved over the years, which is great, in some of your art style, which is wonderful. Now you do some watercolor, and hats off to you for painting with watercolor. That, my understanding, is one of the hardest mediums to work with and master. So, and we've got some art that we're going to show of Kelly's in just a few minutes, and there's some watercolor pieces in there that I really love and like and can relate to because they're iconic signs in the Middle Georgia Macon area. So yeah,
Macon
that's good.
definitely. If you have art in your soul at all, Macon's going to bring it out.
Yeah,
What they say about the creek, about the water here, is
yeah,
it's real. It's a true thing because once you have it, if you have any artistic ability, you're going to find yourself there's. It's not just a desire; it's a need. You have to do something about it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Macon has so much to offer, and so that's what I like to paint Macon scenes.
Were there any artists that have inspired you over the years that you just admire their work and find maybe some inspiration from them or just their style?
Actually, from way back, there's an artist in Warner Robins, Deanna Griffin, who does
Hmm.
portraits. I when I thought I was going to be a portrait artist, I wanted to be Deanna Griffin because her work is just phenomenal. And I had met her years ago when I was still in Warner Robins before I came to Macon, and I have just always loved everything about her portraits. That's not what I do now, and so a friend of mine who is also down in Warner Robins, Sarah England. We've
Sarah
known each
England or
other.
Sarah? Yeah, from
Sarah,
England.
Sarah,
Yeah, Sarah. Yeah,
yes, from
yeah,
well,
yeah.
she's Welsh. She is
Welsh.
Welsh,
Okay.
and her
I'm friends
husband
with
is
her. Yeah.
English, and
Hmm.
she will definitely tell you I am not English. I am Welsh. I've known Sarah
She's got that
forever.
accent that sounds like she's from
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
part of the world. But yeah,
But get her to
yeah.
speak Welsh, and you're like, what did you just say?
Really? Yeah.
um, yes. we actually were paralegals together in a law firm here in Macon.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah,
Wow.
probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
And
Wow.
she, I didn't even know she painted. And she called me one evening and
Oh,
she was
she's
like,
got beautiful
Kelly,
work. Yeah.
oh
Beautiful
yeah,
work.
she was like,
Yeah.
Kelly, I, uh, I want to, I want to start painting again. What do you suggest? And I said, well, send me some pictures of what you've done. I didn't even know you painted, Sarah. So she sent me some pictures and I was like, okay, let's go talk to Travis Jean down here in downtown Macon. They were doing art shows still back then. It's been several years now. And so I took her down there and we got her in an art show. And the next thing I knew, she had blown up and she's this fantastic landscape artist. And I
Oh,
love
she's
Sarah's
wonderful.
work.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did an
Yeah. And
interview. Well, I've been trying to get her on the podcast, but she's kind of shy. But yeah.
She can be very shy. She and I are very different in that way.
Yeah.
And I'll put a bug in her ear and tell her she needs to do this
Please. Thank
because
you. Yeah.
everybody needs to see Sarah's work.
Yeah.
But she and then Hannah Hetzkel out of Atlanta, she was an attorney that I worked with, and
Okay.
her work is phenomenal.
I'm just taking some
Phenomenal,
notes.
yeah.
I'm writing
Yeah.
some of these names down, so like, yeah.
But these are, I'm so much more inspired, not by the greats, but by the local people that are still doing it and still working.
Yeah.
They're the ones who
Yes.
give me inspiration.
Yeah.
Sure, I mean,
I
everybody
love
loves a
that. Yeah. I love
Picasso
that.
and,
Yeah.
a Degas and that kind of thing, but that's not what inspires me. What inspires me is these people who are out here working, and I see them working, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Sarah
Yeah.
being such a part of Sarah's trip, this progression she has made, and watching her paint these very small little seaside scenes, which and flowers. In fact, I run a wedding business on the side, Le Petit Mariage here in Macon, and when we were doing full wedding planning, I would hire Sarah and she would paint our brides bouquets and we would give them as a gift to our brides after the weddings. We would take pictures and then Sarah would paint the bouquets.
That is a great idea.
I couldn't afford
Wow.
a Sarah England painting right now to save my life.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but back then it was like, hey, Sarah, I'll help you if you help me.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that about her.
These local
Yeah.
artists, I just love being a part of it.
I
Oh yeah,
appreciate you sharing that. Yeah.
she's painted. I have a few of them.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you
I
sharing
I will
that 'cause,
definitely tell her that she needs to be this.
she does. Thank you. Put a plug in. She needs to come on. And
Oh yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I love her work. In fact, I called her up not long ago and
Oh,
just
I do
was
too.
talking to her about some of her work and trying to pick her brain about some things. And kind of had her. I had a little mastermind group going for a little while, and she was part of it. And we talked about different things. But yeah, she's a great artist, and I love it that
Mhm.
you admire and follow like local artists that inspire. And people always, oh, the Picasso or the Van Gogh or the Claude Monet or whoever. I've been looking at a little bit of Edgar Payne's work because I'm more landscape and
Mhm.
but anyway, yeah, there's a lot of local artists that can really inspire us to be better.
Oh,
And yeah.
yeah. There's a gentleman by the Kevin up here in Macon who does portraits. Who just he's out of Tanglewood Studios.
Okay.
He and Aaron Hawk, both of them, Casey Trace over at Art Space, all of these
Right.
people who are working, Kelly Kernich out of 567, all of these
Mhm.
people who are working and who are promoting art, Jenny Lane Sheridan,
Right.
these are all people that I admire and who inspire me so much more than the big names.
Yeah.
Sure, I love to
Yeah.
I love to go to a museum and look at these paintings, but I'm inspired by the people who are out here doing the work.
Right,
and who
right.
are promoting art.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Kevin Lewis. Um,
Yes, Kevin Lewis is
I
amazing.
had him on the podcast. Aaron has been on. Um, Kara Hurd, Jeannie Lane Sheridan, Casey. I mean, it
Casey, I
just
know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, you check out some of
Oh
the
yeah.
interviews. Yeah, I mean, they're just. I've learned so much from all these artists. This is one of the reasons. Okay, guys, I'm being honest here and letting folks in on a little secret. This is one of the reasons I do this is to learn more about the artist, but to get inspiration from other people. Um,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and
Yes.
to share, I mean, I do it to share your story and to promote your work, but we learn. We need that community in
Hmm.
the Middle Georgia
Yes.
area. That's one of the things I think is in common with all of us artists here in the Middle Georgia area is that community. You need that community. You need to find somebody that does work kind of similar to you, that's a little bit better than you, to kind of help
Hmm.
challenge you a little bit. And that's why Sarah was one that I sought after because I love her work. And I says, oh man, if I could kind of gravitate toward that. And I would love to go
If
down to her studio and just sit and watch her paint for a
Well, that
couple
would be her
hours.
dining room because
Okay.
she paints in her dining room, and
Okay.
I tease her about that. But I have watched her evolution from those first little small, and they were mainly beach scenes that she was painting,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then she was doing the flowers. She would do a lot of flowers. My daughter has a huge sunflowers that she did, but then she started these massive landscapes, and I was like, Sarah, these are amazing, these are gorgeous. And but I have watched her evolve into the artist that she is today, and it just that is the inspiration. That is a lot of the inspiration right there, is watching
Yeah.
her and watching her. And same with Hannah out of Atlanta. I've watched her in the beginning days when she was still being an attorney and painting on the side, and then watched her evolve into the artist that she is today. And she just sent off 27 cowgirl type paintings to Montana. So
Wow.
she's, yeah, she will paint in a when she does a group, she stays in the same theme for the whole series, and then
Okay.
she'll go on to a new series. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm not good at doing a series. I get very bored very quickly with one thing, and so I'm kind of constantly changing up what I'm doing.
And
And
that's
right
fine.
now, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a okay. I mean, some artists like to do a thing, and I kind of did a little theme thing for a little bit here. It was I was calling it at first the Vanishing Coast of Georgia, and then I changed it to the Changing Coast of Georgia, and so I did a series of paintings from St. Simons, Tybee, Brunswick area, Darien, and Jekyll Island, and
Hmm.
just trying to capture the marsh and the dunes and places like that because it's constantly changing there at the coast of Georgia, especially on St. Simon's Island. My wife and I have been going down there for 30 years. And over the last 10 years, we've noticed such a drastic change because of the
Oh yeah.
storms that have come through. It's just the landscape is just, you go back and it's unrecognizable in some places, and it's like, oh wow. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to capture, and I've captured some of that in art. um, but yeah, I do some series sometimes. I mean, I got a little project going on called Works on Black, and I just use black canvas and do certain paintings on black canvas.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, but yeah, I'm sticking with my landscapes and seascapes and marshlands and stuff like that. Although I do like golf courses, so I do a lot of Masters,
Well,
Augusta
that,
National too. Yeah.
I do. I love black canvas too. I'm with you there,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
do I do nudes, and I only use white paint, and I
Oh,
do it
okay.
on a black canvas.
Well,
I
we've
think he
got
has one
we've
photos.
got one here
Yeah.
in just a minute, so we'll show that in just a minute, guys. It's not graphic. Come on,
No,
it's
no,
this is
there are a
PG.
few that are a little bit
This
more,
is
but
PG. Yeah, yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
send those.
yeah. No problem. No problem. No problem. Well, you got me inspired. I'm going to pull the artwork in here so we can talk
Okay.
about it. Okay.
All right.
All right. Here we go. Yeah, you and I talked a little bit before we got started, and when you sent these over to me, I said, "Oh wow, look, H&H and Grant's Lounge," and of course, there's another one in there, but I'm saving that until the reveal here in just a minute on the next slide. But these are
Okay.
both watercolor, correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Those are
Let's talk about
watercolor.
these. Tell us about them.
That is it's a gouache watercolor. I prefer that, and as you can see, it's a little heavier than most watercolor. Uh, but everybody, if you know anything about making, you know that H&H is the place to be.
Yes.
The Allman Brothers, same with Grant's Lounge.
Yep.
In fact, what you want to do is eat lunch at H&H, and then later that evening go over to Grant's and catch the local music.
Right.
And so I went through this period where I was doing iconic signs, and you can't do iconic signs in Macon and not do H&H or Grant's. And this picture of Grant's is from a photograph I took. It's sunrise at Grant's Lounge.
Okay.
And my best friend and I, we actually spent a very memorable Christmas Eve at Grant's Lounge. We actually
Really?
had headed downtown to go to midnight mass at St. Joseph's, and we had a little time to kill, so we stopped in at Grant's, which was open, and we ended up having midnight mass at Grant's instead. We never
I was about
made
to
it.
say, did you make it to
We
the
never
mass?
made
Probably
it to church.
not.
We just ended up staying at Grant's. So that sign reminds me of that time that we. It was darker than when we left, but at sunrise, there's nothing like seeing Grant's Lounge sign at sunrise downtown. And H&H is, if you want breakfast or lunch, please,
That's
everybody go to H&H.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate to admit it, but I've never been to that restaurant. It's
What?
on my bucket list. I know. I grew up in Macon. I love the Allman Brothers. A quick little story: when my wife and I were dating, and I'd popped the greatest hits or whatever, some CD, and in fact I've got it over here in the corner, of the Allman Brothers, and that was my traveling music, because she lived in Atlanta and I was down in Macon at the time. And then we went over to Alabama one time and I played that, and she thought, "Oh my gosh, what is this guy listening to?" But she likes it now. But yeah, I grew up. It's like, how have I not been to H&H restaurant?
Yeah,
So,
I don't understand that. When
I don't
if you
either.
grow up in Macon,
You got
to
to,
apply
yeah,
to
you got
H&H.
to, yeah. And it's almost like this next one here. If you grew up in Macon, you got to have a New Way hot dog. And
You
I
have to
told
have New
you,
Way.
I told you before we started, I go about 5 or 10 years without one, and all of a sudden I get a hankering. And when I saw this picture yesterday, I said, this week I've got to go. There's one here on Russell Parkway and one of Robbins. I got to go over there and grab lunch and what have you. But I love this. Tell us a little bit about this one here, because it's kind of unique.
Yeah, this is also watercolor, and it is the sign that was on the old building on Cotton Cotton Avenue, which burned. This is the building that burned, and I did this one. Took this photograph one evening. It was lit up. You can't really tell in the painting that it was lit up at the time, but I just absolutely loved the neon sign. And of course, like you said, New Way is iconic.
Yes.
They are the best wieners. And
nothing like it.
I've never like tasted
anything like it in all my life, in all my 68 and a half years. Yeah.
So I'm glad I caught this. I was able to paint this before the sign was taken away. Now, it's my understanding that New Way does still have the sign in storage.
That's good.
You won't see it hanging. It's not hanging anywhere anymore.
Yeah. Because now in its place is where the Otis Redding Center for the Arts is, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Right? All that area there. And I hated it that it burned down, because I'd eaten in there many times, working downtown many years ago. And like I said, every now and then it's like, hey, let's go get a new way. And we'd all go up there in our dress shirts and ties, and you cram in the little booth and eat, hot dogs with chili on them and all that kind of stuff. Some of the best milkshakes, chocolate shakes. Oh, I got to be quiet. It's getting too close to lunch. Yeah. But all right, let's talk about this flamingo.
I did go through a period where I was painting a lot of seabirds.
Okay.
And this one is actually painted on black canvas. And I love the graphic, the pink and the black of that. And I don't know why I went through these seabirds, but it was a couple of summers ago. I guess I was thinking of the beach and the ocean. And I have a lot of cranes and seagulls and that kind of thing. But the flamingo is my granddaughter's favorite. And she tells everybody I painted it for her. She has a print.
Well, of course you did, right?
She goes, yes, Grandma painted that for me.
I just wrote that down about the flamingo on black canvas because I'm working on some black canvas stuff. As you know, I talked a little bit about that earlier, and I thought, oh, perfect. The contrast of the pinkish reddish, on black. Woo!
Oh, and the cranes too. Doing the cranes on the black canvas.
Yeah. Thank you for this. See, this is. I told you this is why I do this. Get inspiration.
Absolutely, that's it.
It's not cheating, people. This is how you learn. This is how you grow. This is how you develop.
Exactly.
As an artist.
Exactly.
We help each other. Yeah. All right. This one. Yes, folks. You have on the left the painting. She's standing by it. Kind of give you a perspective of how big it is, and then I included it as a bigger, so you could talk a little bit about it. But yeah.
So that
now, is this in your studio area?
That is in my studio.
Okay.
I several years ago enclosed a back porch area, and then I realized that it made the perfect studio. And
you told your husband that was not the intent.
I told the intent was to have a sunroom, and then I went, no, this is too nice of an area.
Look at all those windows with all this natural light coming in, hon. I've got them. Yeah.
The only problem is that I have a room air conditioner and a room heater in there. It is not temperature controlled. There is no central heater.
I can relate to that because the studio that I'm in upstairs, well, it's above the garage. Now there's air ducts, but it's on the other side of the house, and it doesn't get that cool in the summer. So I had to get one of those portable AC things.
That's what
it's not one that goes in the window, but it's one that the ductwork fits in the window, rolls around. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I've got a little space heater because it gets cold up here, so I can relate to that.
and I have to sit right by the air conditioner and have it blowing right on me.
Yeah, I hear you.
But in the fall and the spring, I can open up all those windows and it's 90% screen then, and I get the cross breeze, and I absolutely love it. So there's two walls that are all windows, and then two walls that are exterior stucco. But it's my favorite place in the world to be.
I bet.
That's where my music will be playing, and
that's your she cave almost.
Yes,
that's your art cave.
Well, then I have a cottage out in the backyard that I use, that I'm turning into my own personal gallery, so that I have a place to hang all the paintings.
Well, that's what I use my house for.
Yeah. Well, they're hanging all over, but I'm starting to run out of wall space.
I keep an inventory. I don't know if you do this. I keep an inventory every year of the paintings that I create. Here's the title. It's in a spreadsheet. Here's the title. Here's the dimensions. It's oil or whatever. And is it for sale? Yes. How much? All that kind of stuff. And I just went back and started adding things up, and hundreds of paintings over the years. And it's like, how much? But I don't have everything probably listed, because I have found stuff in other bedrooms. It's like, oh my gosh, look at all these small paintings I did way back. So that's not even part of the inventory.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's like, but yeah, and the walls that covered, and my wife, and I don't know, uh, there's an advantage, folks, if you're married to an artist, you don't have to buy art from Hobby Lobby or at home or off of Amazon. You just get your spouse or partner or significant other to say, "Will you paint whatever?" My
Yeah.
wife does that a lot. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
husband's the opposite. My husband is a minimalist and I'm a maximalist. So he's always going, "Do you think we could have some wall space somewhere that's
No.
not covered in?" And I'm like, "Wall space is just more room for me to hang something."
Yeah. The entrance to my, studio up here, it's a, kind of a bonus room. It's long and, it's about 22, 23 feet long and about 12 feet wide, but there's stairs that come up to it. And so when I first started coming up here, I mean, as high as I could reach and get the ladder to hang paintings. And then I said, I need to paint the walls. And my wife said, well, don't put as many paintings going up there this time. And I said, okay. She's probably going to watch this, but she knows it's slowly getting back to that because it's like, well, I don't have any place in the house. I got to hang it somewhere.
Right.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Oh, that's great. That's
Well,
great.
this particular painting was my first attempt at what I call organic abstract.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of a lake scene, but not really. It is a reflection in water
Yeah. Yeah.
of what's above, but this is one of the loosest paintings that I have ever done,
Okay.
and
Okay.
way outside my comfort zone.
I,
Uh,
I, I appreciate you saying that because I got a comment about that in a minute. But yeah, keep going.
well, my son-in-law absolutely loves abstracts.
Okay.
And so I'm like, well, I love abstracts too. I've just never been any good at painting them because my eye won't let me stop. My eye wants me to do more I'm not one to just put some color on there. And abstracts are hard. I don't care what anybody says. It's your 5-year-old can't do an abstract, a good abstract. Joe Adams is one of the best.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
I just had
love
him on last week,
yeah,
actually.
I
Yeah.
love his work. But I'm never going to be Joe Adams. So this was the closest that I could do, and that's you can see the blending. I can't have any space that doesn't have paint on it, and it all has to blend
Yeah.
somehow, some way. That's
Yeah.
just me. That's what I do.
Well, the comment that I was going to make, or I was going to throw this out, is I'm wanting to do some things like this. Okay. Because I'm the traditional, more on the realism side of landscape, that kind of thing. But I want to do some scenes that are okay. It's a landscape, but it's more abstract, like this, like your
Yes.
piece there, or something of the ocean with this beautiful sky and there's some reflection, or maybe it's mostly sky and there's a little bit of land toward the bottom part of the fourth
Hmm.
of the canvas, kind of thing. But it's these beautiful colors and just different. I mean, I've got different brushes. I've got different, you know, um, scrapers to try to move paint around differently and stuff. I think what I need to do is go buy me a cheap, couple big canvases and just play, you know,
Yes.
just experiment, just
Yep.
start doing and see what happens. So, yeah.
This one was done all in those round brushes. I think the
Okay.
smallest one
Yeah.
was maybe 2 inches, and then
Okay.
I have some really big ones. And I just blended and blended and blended until I hit. And then it's one of those that I could have kept painting, but I made myself stop.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah,
That's hard sometimes to say, okay, and we talked about that earlier. Okay, stop, quit. It's done. Well, here's something too. I'll ask you: do you come back to a painting like 2 or 3 or 4 days later and says, "Oh, I need to fix this," or "Oh, I need to add this"? Does that ever happen? I can
I
see you
have.
kind of smiling, nodding your head. Okay.
And that's why when I get to the point that I decide that it's done, I just go ahead and put my shellac on it, my glaze on it, because I won't come back. And that's from doing sketch art. Because when you would do a sketch of a a subject, and then you fixed it, you couldn't draw on it again. So
Gotcha.
in my mind, once I put that glaze on it, I can't do anything else. It's done.
Right.
Even though with
Right.
acrylic, I could if I wanted to. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
is my stopping point. So I
Yeah.
have to make myself stop, or I'll
Yeah.
just keep coming back and adding things or changing something or literally painting over all of it and starting all over again.
Yeah. 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 Okay. All right. This is the last two. Um, let's talk. Tell us a little bit about the one on the left.
The
Black
one on
canvas.
the that is black canvas, white acrylic paint. That's all that is, and it's a silhouette uh, that I had was lucky enough to get a picture of a young woman who was modeling and was able to just hit the highlights. I, which I like to do with a lot of nudes. I like to do it that way.
Okay. Okay. That's cool.
It's more.
You know, at
There's
first it
more.
took me a minute when I first saw the picture. I said, "What is this?" And then it clicked. You
Yes.
know, I said, "Oh, okay." But that's
So
great.
it's
You
more
know.
suggestion than it is.
Uh-huh.
It's like the less you show, the more sensual it is.
That's right. Yes, very much so. Yeah, very much so.
And then the one on the right is black watercolor.
Oh, okay.
So that's I do, like I said, a lot of my portraits. If I do portraits these days, it's usually black watercolor. I don't paint in color when I do a portrait,
Interesting.
and
You
and I
know
look.
that I thank you for sharing that because that's one of the things I'd love to do is, portraits. I took a workshop earlier this year up in Forsyth actually, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I had the artist that taught the workshop on the podcast a month or two later. But I've done a few portraits, and that's one thing that I want to work on. And it's just finding the time and devoting the time to practicing and learning and getting better at it. But I like this of using one color, like the white canvas with black or black with white paint. Uh, and I thought, I need to get back into this. So I'm finding all kinds of inspiration just having this chat with you today, Kelly. It's been great.
Well, I've always loved the human body, and
Yes.
it's in art school you do a lot of anatomy type drawings, sketches, and
Right.
that kind of
Right.
thing. And so I used to always work in pencil or in charcoal, and then I don't know why I started with the black watercolor, but it was so soft and it's actually easier than pencil.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I like the look, and I did quite a few portraits, especially of children in the black on white. But then I started the white on black. That was just kind of a glitch one day. I saw a photograph, and I of this silhouette that was white light on a black background, and I went, something like that might work with acrylic paint. And so I started getting some photographs of friends who would pose for me, and started doing these type of things. And they're
Uh,
fun, and they get a lot of attention when I take them to a show.
I really, I bet they
Yeah,
do. But a lot of people gather around and kind of, make comments and ask questions and things like that. So
because like you
yeah, that's
said, it
cool.
sometimes it takes you a minute to figure out what it is you're looking at.
Yeah, yeah, it did at first. I said, "What is that?" And then it's like, "Oh, okay, I see that
Yeah.
now." Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Um, yeah. Okay. We'll just take this off the stage here right quick. Get back over here. But yeah, I found so much inspiration. I took some notes, and folks, I just encourage you as you watch these interviews to take notes. And we talked about various artists that have influenced Kelly. We know I know a lot of these people. We have that in common, and we come from kind of the same background as far as Tennessee roots and that kind of thing, which is good. Yeah, so it's been a pleasure just sitting down and chatting with you and getting to know you a little bit better. And it, you found out about the podcast through, was it Corn Young?
Corin is my business partner in the wedding business. So
I have a
yes.
story to tell you. I'll tell you the story offline about Corin and Nathan. But I used to work with Nathan
Oh,
Dees.
okay.
Nathan,
Yes.
just real quick, Nathan actually worked for me for a number of years, and then he went off to a different team at IT at Geico, and I ended up in a different team, and I became a manager for a while, and then he was a supervisor at the time, and then he became a manager in another department, and I decided that I had enough of the rat race of being a manager, so I was going to step down to a supervisory role. And I went to work for Nathan. So it's kind of weird as he worked for me for a while, and then my end of my career, I worked for Nathan, but we go back. In fact, he got his start in IT through what we called a COBOL boot camp back in the day, and we brought him from, I don't know if it's sales or service or where he came from, but he is such a talented individual. I know that he and Corn both are involved in the making scene and making
Oh
community
yeah.
and things of that nature, so they've been such a blessing and to the Middle Georgia area, Macon area, and what they've been able to create, promote. So, but yeah, all right. It's been a joy. I've got some random questions for you as we kind of wrap up here a little bit. Some are art related
Okay.
and some are not. Most of them are not. Maybe one is. Okay. All right. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh goodness. The ability to fly.
I love it. Yeah. A lot of people say that. A
Yep.
lot of people say the ability to fly. I kind of like that superpower, but I also like time travel. I wish I could do time travel. You know,
Yeah,
that would
I'm
be
not so
fun.
sure I want that.
Well, my time travel is kind of, well, mine is for, who Warren Buffett is?
Oh
The
yeah.
multi-billionaire. I would be like a Warren Buffett because I would go back in time knowing what I know now and be able to say, oh, Microsoft, yeah, I think I'll buy some of that stock. Oh, Google, I think I'll buy that
Some
too.
apple.
Amazon,
Yeah.
I think it'll Apple, yeah, I'm buying some fruit, kind of like in Forrest Gump, he said, he bought some fruit, and it had this Apple symbol on it, it's like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. All right. What is your favorite color?
That's I don't have just a single favorite color. It really and
Okay.
truly, yeah.
All the
I
colors on the color wheel, right? Okay.
All the colors on the color wheel. You will, if you come into my house, um, there is a different color in every room.
Okay.
There is not, yeah, there's not a prominent color in my house anywhere. In fact, my daughter says, "Mom, your house is like a kaleidoscope, and it makes me crazy because
Well,
there's no
looking at the
theme."
blouse or shirt you have on, there's a lot of color on that. So yeah, there you go. All right, love it. Okay.
The room I'm in right now is red. These are brown curtains back here, but
Okay.
this room
Okay.
is red. Uh,
Okay.
the other bedroom is dark brown. The green, mint green. I mean, it's just an explosion of color.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All
I
right.
don't actually have a favorite color.
Okay. Well, what's your favorite holiday and why?
I absolutely love Halloween. And Halloween has always been this family's favorite holiday. Um, we, from very young, my girls loved to create costumes, and we've never bought costumes. We've always created them. And in fact, my oldest one starts in August, deciding
Really?
what the family is going to do for Halloween, and she starts making costumes. To this day, she makes costumes.
And
She
how
did a
old is
lot
she
of
now?
cosplay for a while.
Yeah.
She's 42. Yeah.
Really? Wow. You go,
It,
girl.
it
All
has a
right.
5-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You know, I
Halloween is our favorite.
okay. There are some other artists that I've interviewed. I don't know how long I've been asking these four little random questions, kind of thing, for artists. But there's a lot that do like Halloween. Thanksgiving and Halloween are probably the two top. Christmas is in there too. Some people like Fourth of July, all the fireworks celebration, family get-togethers, good food, that kind of thing. But yeah, Halloween. We enjoy Halloween. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. All right, the last
I
one
think,
is
well, I think
go ahead.
Halloween. Is- Oh, I think Halloween just brings out your creativity
It does.
much more
It
so
does.
than the others.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
You can do the things you don't normally do.
well, yeah, and thinking back when the kids were younger, we might have bought a couple costumes maybe when they were little, but as they got older, they started creating their own little costumes kind of thing. And we
Mhm.
always carved pumpkins. That was a tradition in my family when I was growing up. We always had to carve a pumpkin, and so we had Tammy and I have three kids, and so there were times that we would do three pumpkins. Um, but then we'd also have them, okay, let's do one, and you do the eyes, you do the nose, you do the mouth, or whatever, and that way they all contribute to this family, jack o' lantern. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Last question is: describe your dream or fantasy art studio.
That I want one that's organized, that has a place for everything, because I have a tendency to put something down and forget where I put it, and then I'm looking for it for days at a time. So if I had my dream studio, it would be all glass, even the ceiling glass, and it would have a place for everything. I would have a
Oh wow.
huge wall of that I can just hang stuff and drawers and boxes and stuff like that, that I know where everything is.
Okay.
And one that expands on its own whenever I need it to, because it doesn't matter. I'm gonna get more stuff than I can fit in everything. So I
Gotcha.
want one
Gotcha.
that can grow.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I want a magical studio is what I want.
Okay, okay. That way you can press a button and the back wall just expands out and then, hey, you've got
It
this
lives
extra
with
room.
me. It's
Or
a
they deliver the
living
extra module that they
being
attach to
that
it and
knows
there's your
how to
storage, yeah.
morph when I need it to morph.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah, for me, it'll be twice as much room as I have
Or it
today.
has lighting in it. If I get up in the middle of the night and want to paint, it's lit up the way it should be in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it has natural, lighting in it. Because that's the other thing
Right,
is, you if you want to paint, it's you're chasing the light. How often do you move your easel because you're chasing light?
right, right. You could
My
leave it in
easel
one
moves
place
around
and the
all the
lighting
time
stays the
because I'm looking
same.
for the best
Yeah,
light.
right, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Any parting advice for folks that are out there that might be watching this that either as a fellow artist or somebody that's like retired or facing retirement and they're thinking about taking up painting, maybe as a hobby and maybe turning it into a career? Any advice for folks like that?
Get involved. There are so many art associations in Middle Georgia. Middle Georgia Art Association,
Right.
Warner Robins, I believe, still has their local art
Yes. Yeah.
association.
Hmm. It
The
does.
567, volunteer, find local galleries in your community and volunteer and get to know the local artists. Follow the local artists, promote their art, because when you promote other people, you people then start looking at your stuff.
Right.
Um, but this isn't the one thing I think about art and artists is that we're not solitary. We we live and we grow by being around other artists.
So true.
And you've got to promote the people around you. When you promote somebody else, they're going to promote you.
Right.
And it's what we do in with art, it's such a part of our souls
Yes.
that you can't just hold it inside. You've got to let it
Right.
out and you've got to share it, but you've got to be involved. And I tell everybody, get involved. If you are finding that you don't have a support system, then that's because you haven't gone out and joined the art associations or volunteered for the local galleries or talked to artists. Just, find out where they're going to be and go watch them.
Right.
When we talked about Sarah, she does some things sometimes where she's out painting plein air, but she's doing it at a market or something like that. Go talk to her. So,
Right.
that's what you need to do is get out and meet people and become a part of the art scene and the art community where you are.
Right. Right. Thank you for that advice. Yeah, I agree 100% is to get involved and whether you do volunteer work or whatever, just getting in, finding out about who the artists are. And that's one of the reasons why I do this is to help promote the art in the Middle Georgia area and tell stories and let people know who you are and about your artwork. And folks, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and catching this episode. And Kelly, I want to thank you so much for finding out more about us, the Artist Stories of Middle Georgia podcast through, I'll call mutual friend from Corin Young, which was great. And I saw that on Facebook and I said, hey, thank you, Corin, for, tagging her. And she said, oh, I'm interested. Hey, and here we are. So
Yeah.
that happened, in about the last 10 days, if that,
Yes. Yeah.
so
I think it was
it
last
happened pretty
week. Yeah.
fast. Maybe, yeah, it could have been just a week or so ago. And so, yeah, and this is the beauty of it. But thanks again so much for being on the podcast today. Wish you all the best. I want to keep in touch with you, maybe follow up with you down the road, 6-8 months down the road or whatever it is, and just say, hey, what's going on? How's things going? Got any projects going on? That kind of thing. Has your art evolved into something different? Etc. So we'll stay in touch. But thanks everybody for tuning in to another episode of Artist Stories in Middle Georgia. If you're out on Facebook, become a friend on the Facebook page so you'll keep up with what the content is. And if you're out on YouTube watching this, please give us a thumbs up, like us, and subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends and fellow artists. But we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Take care, everybody. Take care, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Artist Stories of Middle Georgia. We really appreciate our audience and would love to hear about other artist stories you'd like for us to share. Please email us or leave a comment. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Please like and subscribe.